Am I providing value to the world? This is a question that everyone should be asking themselves. It's a question I ask myself often. While I believe selfishness is a virtue, there's something about providing value in a way that will outlast and outlive you. To leave a legacy of sorts, to make an impact on this world while you're here. And maybe that's just grandiose thinking. Maybe I have a delusional self-belief. That's okay. But I really do want to provide value to this world, and especially to those around me, and I want to do something that outlives me. Maybe it'd be nice to have my grandkids or great grandkids even know who I am. I look at my family tree. There's stories, but I don't know who any of them really are, other than the ones that I met. And that's really tragic, because if your own family doesn't even know who you are, then no one does. I mean, I've seen it in my own life. I still think about the friends that have died, that I've had. I think about them often. But I think most people just forget about those who pass on, and life goes on. You know, a year, 2 years, 3, 4 years after someone's gone, you don't really think about them anymore. And so, you know, there's so many cliches that have truth, which is don't worry about what people think about you, because they probably don't think about you, and they're not going to think about you when you're dead. So live how you want and be authentic, and that's very true. But what if being authentic doesn't provide any value? What if no one wants what you're offering? And in a capitalist society, sort of, pseudo-capitalist, we won't get into the crony capitalism thing, but capitalism is the only moral system of the economy. It's mutually beneficial trade. Values for values. You have something I want, I have something you want, so we get mutual benefit out of trading with each other. What if nobody wants what you want? I mean, but what if nobody wants what you have to offer? And that can be pretty disheartening pretty quick. And then, you know, the soothsayers, the life coaches would say, well, just be you anyway. The universe will move in your favor. Maybe that's true. I think you can survive. The universe will move in your favor enough that you can survive if you're truly being authentic, but we want to thrive, right? We want to have a life of joy and passion and obsession and abundance and love and laughter and life. We don't want to just survive. But if the market is not picking up what you're putting down, then you're not really providing any value. In which case, the whole argument about being authentic kind of falls apart. At least it starts to. But then you have to consider, well, am I being authentic because I want the market to approve my authenticity? Or am I being authentic because it's me? Because it's who I am, because it's my be, and then it dictates my do, and that's what I must do. So that's the question. Because as Tony Robbins seems to like to say, especially lately, we're all equal in God's eyes, but we're not all equal in the marketplace. And that can be a bitter pill to swallow for people who are not inherently motivated by the marketplace, but are motivated by self-actualization and simply being authentic and being who they believe that they're here on this earth to be, and that eventually that will provide some value. But what if the marketplace disagrees? Then suddenly you have this lifelong quest and challenge and internal wrestling with, well, but this is who I am, so therefore I believe it has value. And the marketplace saying, nope, you don't. What you're being and doing does not have value. Not in the market. Okay, so then what? Because philosophically speaking, if my be determines my do, and my do determines my have, and then that determines my give, if the marketplace says, we don't really give a shit about your be, it sucks, we don't want it, then whatever you're doing is not going to generate returns or traders on the opposite side of that trade because nobody wants it, which means you're not going to have anything, which means you're not going to be able to give anything, and there's no legacy to be left, which means what's your point of living? What's your purpose? Do you have a purpose? Are you an NPC? Am I an NPC? Nobody really asks themselves that. See, I have this delusional self-belief, and to the point of wondering sometimes, like, am I insane? But I'm open to the answer being, yeah, dude, you're fucking crazy. No, dude, the market doesn't want what you're putting out there. Figure something else out. The problem is, no one's ever going to tell you that. You have to figure it out yourself. I have to figure that out myself. So, continue just throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks. Well, this is who I am. Okay, I'm going to do this. Nope, market doesn't want it. Okay, something else. And you just keep iterating over and over till eventually something takes hold, maybe. What if nothing does? What if that never happens? What if the market just perpetually says, nah, don't see any value in you? Then what? That's a genuine question because, we hear it, especially if you come from Western culture, American culture. I won't speak for the whole West. I think it's really just American culture that's been spread to the other part of the world. Like, you can be from any country and you can have this mindset of like, I'm going to accomplish something, I'm driven, I am ambitious, willing to work for it. But that was birthed in the empire of America. And so it's a tough question to be asking oneself. You're like, I'm busting my ass. I'm doing everything I can think of that's coming from a place of authenticity. Do I blame the algorithm? Do I blame people just don't understand? No, it's neither of those, even if it's both of those, because communication is 50-50. There's always ways to communicate things better. So if you lose a sale, it's not just because your customer's an idiot, it's because you didn't communicate in a way that would have convinced that customer. Because most people are willing to be sold, or even want to be sold, but they want to feel like it was a great decision, like they got an amazing deal, like they're super smart and they're getting there before everyone else, and so everyone else is going to have FOMO because they're first. Like, there's always a way to tap into somebody's psychology to sell them whatever it is you're selling. And so if your communication is falling on deaf ears, it's not the fault of customers not understanding, it's not the fault of the algorithm disappearing you, it's the fact that maybe you need to sell the algorithm better and play the game and then do a better job of selling the customers. There's always more that I can do. There's always more that you can do better. So even if you're completely authentic, you still have to play the game, because that's just the challenge of this life, this material world. If it were so simple as just be self-actualized, bro, just be completely real and true, and the universe will just suddenly make everything hunky-dory and rainbows and unicorns and singing kumbaya around the campfire with a drum circle. Like, if that were the case, then it would be much, much easier in life. And that's not the case. Even for people in drum circles. I've been around lots of those people. And quite frankly, there's a reason why the very logical individuals that are in my life are very skeptical of those types of hippie people, and vice versa. Both sides. We all can miss things, and we all can get stuck and get into a rut where we think, well, this is the only path to growth, and it's not. So, am I providing value to the world? Well, in what way? Am I doing anything that will be remembered when I'm gone? Oof, tough question. Am I doing anything that people are knocking down my door to buy? Oof, tough question. Am I being real? And so what happens if being real doesn't accomplish either of those first two goals, which are really quantifiable, tangible ways to see if you're providing value to the world? Well, and that's a pretty simple answer. You have to go back and reconfigure everything that you're doing and say, okay, this is coming from a place of B. It's not accomplishing what I'm setting out to accomplish. So this guy, Peter Steinberger, or whatever his name is, who created openclaw, rumor has it that OpenAI is going to give him like $1 billion to come to OpenAI. It was an acqui-hire. It makes me question, am I providing value to this world? When an individual can, in like 3 weeks, generate $1 billion in value for themselves, not 3 years, not 3 decades, 3 weeks, roughly, from the time that it made a huge splash to, and Anthropic told him to kick rocks, stupidly, to the time when he gets acqui-hired, less than a month. Billions of dollars probably when all is said and done. Am I providing that kind of value to the world? Anybody who's a high functioning individual has to be like, damn, a little bit jealous, right? But what am I creating that's has that kind of value? What am I creating that's going that viral that people want? Am I creating anything that people want on that sort of a level? Because it happens all the time. And those people are providing massive value to the world. And they get paid for it. They get paid in every way. So what kind of value am I providing to the world? And what does that say about being authentic and contributing and doing something that will outlive me? And if I'm not providing $1 billion in 3 weeks kind of value, how can I step up my game and do that? Because any of us can now. Needs to be the goal.